So no pressure on you, Joyce. But hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here. And my name is Tara Moore, and I'm the Director of Conservation Partnerships from the North Carolina Wildlife Federation. I know a few of you, but many of you I do not know yet. So thank you for joining us on this call. I'm just gonna, we're getting a little bit of background noise. I'm just gonna mute everyone's lines. Sorry about that, but we will definitely unmute later, I promise. We have muted everyone's lines. If anyone has any questions during the presentation today, there is a chat box. So if you look in the top right corner of your screen, there's a chat with everyone little icon, and you can put any questions, you can put thoughts. If you want to say, go Joyce, something along those lines, you can put anything that you want. Anything that you want in there. But this is definitely a first. I have never seen a fly fishing webinar, nor have I actually been on a fly fishing trip or done it myself. So I am actually really excited to learn from sort of our master here, who is a fly fishing expert. Before we get started here, I just want to thank you all for registering and for being on tonight. Thank you to those who have donated. And we did want to give you another way that you can donate if you'd like to the North Carolina Wildlife Federation. We do have a text to donate feature, which is really, really cool. We just started that up now. So if you are interested and you wanted to give towards putting these programs on, you can text to 704-270-2170, and you can text the word wildlife. So it's wildlife to 704-270-2170. And I will put that in the chat after. But we just appreciate anything that you guys give, and we like even appreciate you just being on this call today. It's just amazing to see all the other wildlife lovers here. So thank you all. And I'll just give Joyce a little intro. So Joyce Shepherd is our speaker for tonight. She is a Fly Fishing Hall of Fame inductee, an avid angler, and a seasonal fly fishing instructor. She is also on the North Carolina Wildlife Federation board, which is how I know her. And we have a few other board members on the call tonight. So thank you all for being here. And she has roles on other boards such as NC Trout Unlimited and a few others as well. And in addition to all of those accolades, she's just an amazing person. And I love spending time with her. So I'm excited to hear from her this evening, and I hope you all have your pen, pencil, or 2-foot stick ready to do our practice tonight. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Joyce.
That's it, huh? Okay.
That's it, Joyce. You are on.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I am going to try to teach you the very basics. It's kind of hard to do that inside and not standing next to you, but I'm going to try to show you how to do the very basics of fly casting. The first thing I wanted to teach you is how to grip the rod. I guess I need to take this off. Come on. When you go to your rod, first off, there's a little bunch of numbers near the end, right here on every rod. Every rod you have. Can you see me? Can you see it?
Joyce, if you just want to back just a smidge up. Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, just so we can see you more fully. That's perfect.
Okay. Can you see this part of the rod at all? I mean, if you look here, it will tell you what kind of rod it is. It will tell you what size rod it is, and it will tell you how long it is. So when you want to go for, say, if you want to go for something big like a tarpon, you'll need a rod that's going to be a 8 to 12 weight. This is a 5-weight rod. It is a 9-foot rod, and all of that information is right here. So you will always see that whenever you go to, if you go to a fly shop and you want to learn how to fish, They will probably start you out with a 5-weight rod, which is medium. And that you can go to any mountain, you can get any kind of bass, any kind of catfish, any type of trout with a 5-weight rod. If you're going for a bigger fish, you need a bigger rod. The purpose of the rod is the rod tip will bend like this. So when you cast, the rod will cast this way. When you bring it back, it will cast back that way. So the purpose of these rods that they decide they want to spend an enormous amount of money on is to have the delicate balance of throwing the line, throwing this thick line. Can y'all see me okay? Okay.
Yep, Joyce. And with the rod part, if you could just move back just a tiny bit.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, just put it a little bit higher. Yep. Awesome.
There we go?
Yeah,
all right.
That's great.
Okay. So, but yeah, this is the spot right here. Okay. This is just a a hook keeper. So, you know, when you bring your line in, you want to stop fishing, you just put your hook right there. But in order to get a good rod grip, you need to take your hand. Trying to figure this out here. You need to take your hand and roll it into your fingers this way, because I've got it backwards there. But roll it into your fingers this way. Can you see that?
Move it a tiny bit.
Move it up or down?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
But you roll it into your fingers like this. So if you have your pens or your pencils or whatever little stick, just put it on the tips of your fingers, and then you roll it into your hand. Okay. Now, some people are left-handed. I know I'm not quite. No, Tara, no. You just. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. You're going to roll it in, and then you're going to put your thumb on top. Okay. I can't see everybody, but. Okay. I can't see everybody, but if you just roll it in there, get your hands nice and comfortable, put your thumb on the top. Okay. Now, I do see Mary. Calm down, Mary. Okay. Now, what you're going to end up doing, you're going to start out. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm all hooked. Let go. Too many wires. Tara, turn yours the other way. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to get the logistics of how everybody's doing it. Okay. So it's going to be, your rod tip is going to be in that direction. Okay. So basically I'm looking at you backwards. I think that's the way it works. Yeah. Okay. So your first move is going to be like you've got it in the water. You're going to bring it up slowly. When you get to about 45-degree angle, you're going to snap it. You're going to hit it. There you go. Hey, y'all looking good. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. You're going to bring it up. Snap it. So you got the 45-degree angle right here. Okay. And that's going to take the line in the back of your rod is going to go. It's going to go to the back of you. Okay. Once it gets back there and it straightens out, it's when you're going to bring it forward again. But you're going to bring it slowly and then you're gonna hit it again. Okay, you're gonna snap it again. Not too far back, Mary. You're bringing it, Mary, you're bringing it all the way back here. Okay, we don't want you to bring it that far back. We want you to point it at the sky. Point your thumb at the sky. There you go. There you go. So when you bring it up, you're going to end up with your rod tip up. There you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So when you stop it at this point, the line is going to go backwards. You're going to bring it forward, and you're going to hit it at about 90 degrees, and it's going to go towards the water, and you just put it back down. See how easy that was? You're doing good, Mary. I can see you really well. You say, darn it, right? Okay.
Joyce, is the wrist supposed to be in a stationary position?
Yes.
That's what we had a question. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Because what will happen is if you turn it this way, it will hit the water in the back, scare all the little fishies back there. You don't want to do that. Okay. It should be here. Okay. Should basically point almost at the sun, straight up. Okay. Then you're bringing it back down, and you're going to hit it again. Now, I like to, when I teach people to stop, and down, because you have to do a power load. You're bringing it up from the water slowly, and you're going to stop it here. Okay. Then when you're going to go forward, you're going to stop it here, and then you're just going to put it back down in the water. Okay. It's going to be a 10 and 2 motion. Okay. That usual 10 and 2. So you're going to stop it, and then put it down in the water. You don't have to throw it in the water. You don't have to use a lot of pressure. You don't have to do anything really hard. Not so hard, Mary. I know you just hate the fact that I can see you really good, really well. But Mary Curran, there you go. Yeah, you. Okay, so you're doing it just a little too hard. Okay. So you don't have to throw it so hard. Okay. You're going to pull it up. You're going to stop it. Then you're going to stop it. And then you're going to put it down. Okay. So we're going to stop, and put it down. Now, when you're going up, what you're doing is you're turning your thumb backwards. So try to keep it firm. It's like if you shake a man's hand and you use a firm wrist. So you just use your firm wrist on that. Okay. So you're going to bring it up. You're going to stop it, and bring it down. You're still using your wrist. Okay. That's going to be the hardest thing in the world not to do is not doing that wrist, not taking that wrist back too far, and not moving your wrist too far. You need to just get a nice firm grip. You don't have to grip it hard. Okay, so you're still going back too far. You're going back there. Yeah. Point that thumb up at the sky. There you go. There you go. See? Just like that. Just like that. Okay? There you go. All righty. Watching folks here. Okay. Stop, and then down. Aaron M. Okay, you're gonna stop it. You're gonna stop it, and then you're gonna put it down. Put it down easy. You're just gonna lay it in the water. The purpose of doing this is you have to let the fly land in the water like it's a bug. Bugs don't slap the water. Okay, they don't do horrible things to the water. They just land on it very easily with that little film that you usually get on top of the water. And they just sit there, and then hopefully the fish will come up and eat it. Hopefully. I'm trying to figure out what else to say. But yeah. Okay. Let me see, Aaron. See Aaron M. Let me see. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now you bring your arm in just a little, instead of having it out, you don't have to put your shoulder back down. Put your shoulder down. It's supposed to be a relaxing sport. Put that shoulder back down and just put your arm beside you like you're just standing still. Okay. And just raise it up, hit it, you hit it, and then you put it back down. And you're just going to put it on the water. You're just going to lay it on the water. Okay. You don't have to throw. You don't have to do anything hard. Okay. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but it takes practice. One of the things,
Joyce, we have, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We have a recommendation to talk about slack too.
Slack in the line.
Yeah. I think that's what Jennifer was referring to.
Well, you don't want a lot of slack in the line. The purpose, if you have slack in the line, that means that you have given the fish an opportunity to leave you. Because trout, see, with bass will grab onto that line, that fly, and they'll take off and they'll run and they'll hang on to it forever. With a trout, what a trout does is, that's all it does. Suck it in, spit it out. That's just that quick. And if you have slack in the line, you have lost your fish. Okay, so you want to keep not real tight on the line, but you like to keep your line straight on the water. If it's moving water, you'll have to do what we call mend, and that's when you just flip it back upstream. So it will float naturally. It has to float naturally. The fish have to believe that it is a real bug. And real bugs don't have little orange tails floating out there behind. So
yeah, thanks, Joyce. And then we had another question, which you may have covered, but does the line hit the water behind you or just stay up in the air and come back forward?
Come back forward. Does not hit the water. You don't want to scare the fish back there.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be trying to fish for them in another few seconds. So you don't know. You don't want it to come behind because you don't want it to go back that far. If that thumb is like this, then it's going to hit that water. You want it to be up. Okay, you want to keep your line up. You want to keep your rod tip moving in a straight line if at all possible. Your rod tip should always move in a straight line. And I know that's one of those things that's kind of confusing to try to explain to people, but once you practice it, if you take a video of yourself and see where that line goes, whether it's moving forward or moving all the way back to the back or moving way to the front, then you know that you're not doing it completely right. You need to make sure that rod tip is always moving in a straight line. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. What other tips can you give us in terms of, is there any other type of body posture that we should be in? Any stance?
Well, your stance should be, you know how you see people that are doing karate. You know how they plant their feet before they do anything. Anytime you're in the water, you should plant your feet. You should not plant them so that the current is pushing against you. Put them at an angle, because if you have them like this and the water is coming towards you, the water will take your feet from under you. It doesn't matter how shallow it is, it will take your feet from under you. So you should need to plant your feet down. Just plant them down and make sure you're very comfortable before you start trying to cast.
Thanks. That was helpful. And we have two more questions. Can you cast with your index finger and not the thumb? If so, how would you hold the rod?
If you're going to use your index finger and not your thumb, you would hold the rod like this. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Close to far away. Okay.
It's good.
Yeah. It would be on top. I know a lot of people do it that way, and that's to stop people from overreaching when they bring it backwards. It's to stop them. Just like you use your thumb to stop you. Sometimes you use that to stop you from going backwards. So a lot of people do it that way. But you do it however it makes you comfortable. Your grip is going to depend on how comfortable you are with it.
That makes sense. And we do have another question here. Do you do anything different casting into the wind?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to. Basically, when you cast into the wind, you need to focus further instead of stopping up here, because you know the wind's going to take that line. You're going to take it and push it down. It's going to push down towards the water. You're going to take your line, take your rod, and you're going to push it down towards the water, because you know you're trying to get underneath that wind if at all possible. So yeah, that's a little a stronger push than ordinarily. Yeah.
Thanks. And Joyce, we had a few people ask some questions prior to this call today. So I think a few of them would be some good ones to get into. If you don't mind, we had a question, one asking how you got into fly fishing. When did your interest develop? And I think that this could be an inspiring thing for like some of us that really don't know much about it, and maybe we're new fishers in the making.
Yeah. I don't know how inspiring it would be. I did it by accident, but I used to, once I started fishing, I used to go out with a bunch of guys, and we would go into the Chesapeake Bay, and I would come back to work the next day and talk about the fish, just how much fun I had, and I just loved the fishing and all that, and a lot of the women said that they liked to fish too, but they didn't want to go with their boyfriends because the boyfriend always got mad at them, and because they had to bait the hook, and then they had to take the fish off the hook, and they so everybody ended up having a miserable time. So I started having fly fishing trips for women. I mean, not fly fishing, excuse me. I just had fishing trips for women, and I taught them how to take put the worm on the hook. I taught them how to take the fish off the hook. I just used a towel, so because people don't like to touch little slimy things, so I just used the towel and showed them how to do it, and they learned how to do it themselves. I said that way everybody will have a good time. You shouldn't be stressed out when you go fishing. You just should not. So I was on my way back from one of those trips one day, and every once in a while you just don't feel like you want to go in the house. So I saw a fly fishing show in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and they used to have one there every year. But I never heard of fly fishing. All I saw was the word fishing, so I went in. And then I saw these people going. There's lines going all over the place, and I sat down with a guide, and he was talking to me, and he told me all about it. And I like the fact that I didn't have to just put a worm on the hook, put it in the water, and hope. I like the fact that you have to think about the temperature of the water, whether they're eating on the top of the water and right underneath the water, or all the way at the bottom. I like the fact that you had to figure out whether they're going to eat underneath this bush, or they're going to eat out in the middle of the river, or they're going to eat near this rock, or they're going to eat, you never know where they're going to be. So it was, I like the fact that I had to think about what I was doing. And so that's pretty much how I got into it. I did learn of a group called International Women Fly Fishers, and they were having a big conference up in Vermont. So I went to Vermont, and I ran into a lot of ladies that were in the Washington, D.C. area. It was Chesapeake Women Anglers, and I joined up with them, and they taught me all the nuances, which I thank them for every day. And I came to Charlotte looking for women on the fly. So we're now with Women on the Fly, and I love them. They're wonderful people, and we go fishing. So that's how I got into it.
Thanks, Joyce. That was awesome. We do have some more questions in the chat. If you want to unmute Erin and you want to ask the question out loud, you are free to do that as well.
Okay. My question was, if you're casting under a lot of like tree coverage, or you have not the widest space, can you do like a sidearm cast, like a side cast, or
Yeah.
how would you go
Yeah.
about that?
You would either do a side cast, which is basically the exact same motion, except it would be to the side as opposed to um, being up in the air, or you can do what we call a roll cast. Now, a roll cast is definitely in front of you. You hold your rod up. Let me see if I can show this. It's not going to be able to roll, to say the least, but if you hold your rod up and out just a little bit, you'll have what we call a D loop right there. And what you do at that point is you just pull it down and hit it and let it go out into the water. It'll go straight. You start that in the water, bring it up out of the water as much as you can. Get that D loop, and then push it back out into the water. That way it's going forward. It's not going behind you at all. Yeah, so it's called a roll cast. Okay, roll cast is good.
Awesome, thanks. And that was our other question in the chat, actually. Can you describe a roll cast? So I think you probably just covered that for Mary. So good, good description. Can you answer also, what have you seen change where you fly fish that concerns you?
We don't have, to me, a lot of places don't have as many insects, which is not good. There are certain things about the rivers that are indicators that the water is clean. One is a hellbender, which is a big, huge salamander. It's about that big, and it's huge, and it's ugly, and it scares the bejeebers out of some people. But it can only live in cold water. Also, trout can only live, in cold and clean water. And trout can only live in cold and clean water also. So if you see less and less of the fish themselves, then you know that the water is being polluted at some point, somewhere. So.
Thank you. Yep, and we have another question. If you want to unmute, Erin, you are free to ask that.
So my question was, what is your favorite river in North Carolina, or a body of water, and what would you recommend for like a beginner? Again, I'm in the Charlotte area, so I guess somewhere along the Taba would be ideal for me. But I'll drive up to Boone or wherever I need to go to, get a good start.
Well, my favorite river is the Nantahala, but that's about 4 hours away. So yeah, that's my favorite one. There is one in South Mountains State Park, which is only about 45 minutes from Charlotte. And I'm trying to think of the Jacobs Fork. That's what it is. It's a Jacobs Fork River. They have a gentleman on staff there that teaches fly fishing. He was teaching it every Sunday. I don't know what's going on with COVID, so I don't know how often he's going to be there. But he teaches that class. I believe it's a free class. Yeah. So, but that's every Sunday. So you would have to call South Mountains and find out when he's going to be there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Joyce. We did have a few other people asking some questions about where to find fly fishing gear, some like local shops. So I don't know if you wanted to provide that information to folks afterwards, and we could send that out for specific areas. We had someone ask in the Wilmington area.
Yeah, and I did the same thing most people do. I Google it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't go to Wilmington to fish. If you're going to Wilmington, you are going to need a heavy rod, because most things they fish for out there are like redfish and albacore, things of that nature. You'll need to. But when you talk to a guide, let him know that you are a novice, that you don't know a thing. So try not to spend too much money if you can. Most of the time, you'll need good waders. You'll need a decent rod, one that actually bends, and you're going to need sunscreen, hat, that sort of thing. So try not to spend an enormous amount of money, because you don't really have to. The guides are going to try to sell you everything they can. But let them know exactly how much of a novice you are, and just try to rent the equipment. If you rent it, then it shouldn't be it shouldn't cost you but so much. And then you can figure out, after you rent it, you can figure out what you want and what you want to buy. And you can rent equipment out of almost every fly shop. But I like the
Awesome.
idea.
Thanks, Joyce.
I like the idea of using the smaller fly shops as opposed to Orvis and those folks, the big people.
Thanks, Joyce. We have another question.
Mhm.
Mary, if you want to unmute, I'm not sure if you're on video right now. I'm trying to look around. If you want to ask the question out loud, Mary, I'll give you a sec. If not, I'll go ahead.
That's
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, Joyce, can you talk a little bit about certain flies and using them in cold or warmer water, like dry flies and nymphs, like the difference in the use of those in cold or warmer water, or the feeding of the fish or whatever?
The as far as the you will not find trout in warm water. They will die. Okay, they have to be in, I believe it's 75 and below that. So if it gets too warm, you won't find trout. Using nymphs just means that they're the larvae of the flies that you're trying to fish with. So they're small, and they're I should have brought some in here, but they're very small, and they look like larvae. Like they hatch on the bottom, and they start to float to the top, and the fish get them. They either get them off the bottom. If you ever go into a river and you see the tail of a fish, he's eating off the bottom of the river. And then they'll hatch and they'll float up, and then once they get to the top, they flutter their wings and do their little flying thing for about 24 hours. When they get to the top of the water is when you would use a dry fly. If you see fish going, you hear them over in the corner, and you see them sucking up, and that's when you would use a dry fly, because they're eating off the top. So, did that help?
Yeah, I just I had been tying on a dry fly and a nymph onto my line, and it seems like I catch most everything off a nymph.
Right.
And I just wondered if the water was too cold or too warm for any fish to be interested in the dry fly. Dry fly almost acts like a bobber then.
Yeah,
so I know when my
when the
but I didn't. They don't seem to be attracted to the dry fly as much as the nymphs. That's why
oh well,
I asked about the temperature in the water or something.
Yeah, it is the temperature, and that depends on the time of year also, but most of the time it's just the temperature, and the
Okay.
fish are eating on the bottom. They eat on the bottom much more than they eat on the top. So yeah,
Thank you.
I understand about your rig, where you got your dry fly and your nymph. The nymph is just trying to reach the bottom. You just have to make sure that it actually does reach the bottom, because sometimes
So you space it according to how deep the
river is.
Kind of gauge how deep the river is or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Joyce, we did have one more great question in advance too, and I think you covered some of the indicator species type thing, but the question was, is aquatic vegetation indicative of fish across systems and species, such as trout in a river or smallmouth bass? The phrase grass equals bass is common.
Yes. To answer that question, yes, there is vegetation, because like all species, you have to have shelter, and you have to have air, and you have to have, well, basically water. But yeah, the the okay, drew a blank. But
So
yeah,
yes, the answer is yes.
if
Okay.
there is grass, then there's usually fish around. But I don't know too much about grass and bass. I don't know. But if I was in a very large body of water, a large river, and if I was fishing for bass, yes, I would put it. I would put the fly very close to vegetation, because they're in there hiding. You know, they're trying not to be eaten too. They don't want birds eating them. They don't want, because birds will swoop down and snatch them out of the water. So they're hiding.
Thanks. Is there anything else that you want to share with us today, Joyce, about fly fishing in general, whether it's the setup for it or your experiences or
Well, as far as my experiences, I've always fished with really, really, really great people. I fish with Trout Unlimited, with Rocky River Trout Unlimited here in Charlotte. I fish with Carolina Fly Fishing Club also, and with the Women on the Fly. That's a meetup group, so y'all can come join. Um, and it's they're very it's been great. It's just I've had nothing but wonderful memories from everything, and especially I have a great time with the guys from Project Healing Waters, where I teach the guys with the PTSD or different types of disabilities how to fly fish and put them in the water, and it's great to see them catch a fish, and for them to catch the energy of it. It's very peaceful, so they're not thinking about anything really bad at that moment, because they go through a lot of nightmares, they go through a lot of different things, and it kind of takes that away from them for a little while. So I enjoy them with that, and I teach with casting Carolina, so we teach ladies with different types of cancers how to fly fish, because for the exact same reason, it's very peaceful. They don't have to think about the house, they don't have to think about feeding anybody, they don't have to think about what's going on in their life, other than at that moment all they're doing is concentrating on fishing, and it's a very peaceful experience. So
awesome. Thanks, Joyce. And if anyone does have more questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat box for the next few minutes. I know we have a few people just saying nice things, Joyce. So just one more question that someone else had asked through an email, which I also echo. I know we're only getting a certain amount of info here because we're learning how to fly fish on a video. If someone were to want to learn in person with you, is that an option?
It is an option. I have a car, so it's an option. I don't mind. So give me a buzz. Let me know.
Great.
Yeah, if I can, I will. If I can, I will.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I was just curious too. I'm going to go back so I can see everyone's videos. If everyone who doesn't have their video on would mind turning on their video. And if you don't, then that's okay. But I'm just curious. And I think that Joyce would like to see this too. Who has been fly fishing before? Raise your hand.
Oh, hey.
Okay. Who has never been fly fishing before?
Oh. Really? Okay.
Who wants to learn how to fly fish now? Who hasn't before?
Oh, cool. Cool. It really is a great hobby. And if you have anyone, if you have a fly fishing club or a fly fishing company in your area, I would suggest that you check them out, and they will teach you. A lot of times they will teach you for free. You don't have to, just let them know that you're a novice and you're just trying it out and you're trying to decide whether or not you really want to do this. And most of the times they'll do it for free. I know that Orvis has a free class every year in June, and I think some of the other, some of the other clubs will do that. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah. We have a message from Veronica to look up Trout Unlimited clubs in your area too.
Your area.
So if you guys didn't see that. And we also have a message from Teresa Wolbrook, really sweet message saying that she's grateful to Joyce for teaching her last year as a cancer survivor through Casting Carolina. So that was really, really awesome. That's really wonderful to hear. So if nobody had any more questions, I just want to thank everyone for joining. Joyce, you're awesome. Thank you for trying to do your best to teach us on here. I learned a good amount, as much as you can learn through a virtual fly fishing lesson. So this is pretty cool. Do you want to add any last thoughts, Joyce?
My only last thought is just to try your very best not to throw that wrist back or throw that wrist forward, and try to keep your thumb up to the sky, because it'll kill your fishing if you do it wrong, and it'll hurt you. It will hurt you physically if you do it wrong. So I try to teach people not to hurt themselves. So yeah.
Thanks, Joyce. Yes, and I would love to come and join all of you guys and the Women on the Fly group. So thank you so much.
By all means. Yes, please.
Yeah, that sounds like so much. I might have to borrow one of your rods though, Joyce.
No problem. I actually counted my rods the other day, because people always ask me how many I had, and I really didn't know, but I have 10. I have 10
That
rods.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Oh, and we just had one more question that just came in. Does the Royal Wolf wrist brace work?
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Thank you.
So it'll stop you from breaking that wrist. So yes.
Thank you all. Yeah, and Joyce did send me a list of videos and books and fly shops in advance of this. So you will all be getting that list afterwards, which will hopefully be helpful as well. And thank you all so much. This was so fun. Thank you, Joyce.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Joyce.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye, Joyce.
Bye.
We love you.
Hey, Ronnie. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Oh, hey. Hey.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
You're the best.
Yes. Well, thanks. I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Oh, y'all are so nice. Thank you. Oh. Hi, Manly.
Hey, Joyce. This is great.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
That's good. That's good. Wow. It's a lot of
We're
folks.
gonna have to hit South Mountain State Park one day.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, we can go on back out there.
Wild trout's been looking nice up there.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was up there in May last time, and it was the crayfish were out like crazy. I mean, I've never seen the biggest crayfish I've ever seen on that river, on that stretch. And before I broke my hand and everything with thumb, and ended up seeing tons of them up there.
Okay, you broke your hand. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I fractured the thumb. Unfortunately, I banged on 2 rocks up there, and when I fell in and slipped.
Yeah, that happened. That happened. So I can't teach you how not to fall in the river.
That's what I was asking about the index, using just the index finger, not using the thumb.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's mostly, from what I understand, mostly men use the finger anyway, than as opposed to the women. But it's just to stop you from going too far back. Yeah. Hey.
I appreciate it. It was good. That was good.
Oh,
Lot-
I'm
I'm
trying.
glad I like to see a lot. Glad to see a lot more ladies start getting into it now more.
Yeah, isn't that great? We have over 200 in Women on the Fly.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
it is. Because I know last time I went with Ronnie and all, she was telling me like, how many people. And then I went to the Columbia Zoo, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you fly fish?" And I was like, "Yeah, what about?" And I was like, "Well, they're in Columbia." And I was like, "Oh, there's Women on the Fly." Like,
Yeah.
drive 2 hours and you got Women on the Fly, and they're like, "Well, we might check that out." And I was like, "Go do it."
Yeah, it might have. We've gotten a few new people in the last few days, so they might be one of them. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think we need to put together something anyway. Something, try to get out on the water at least a little bit. We just have to social distance.
Right. I know that's been kind of tough because I know with the Larka and all of a sudden I'm like, I got a trip with the headwater, so I was like, I'm going to go some water just for half a day. So just do
Yeah,
that.
just go out and put a little line in the water just for the sake of doing it. Yeah. Feels
I
good
was
when you do that.
Because I was going to try to go Larka, but then all of a sudden I was like, well, since it got kind of, I was like, didn't really know the areas up there, I was like, I was going to kind of just, at least we're doing something on Saturday, so that's a good thing. October, so at least they're doing that up there, Davidson River, so that could be pretty exciting to see that way they've done it.
Yeah. That would be nice. Having something up, because I haven't been up to the Davidson, but one of the ladies from Chesapeake Women Anglers moved down here. So, and I was telling her about the Davidson, so she's going to be in that area. So I might go up there and fish with her since I haven't fished with her in a long time.
That'd be a good thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
But yeah, good evening, and thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope that I did a little bit of help, a little bit at least, get a general idea. So
it's a good drawing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I tried to get a video, but that didn't work. That didn't work. So
Right.
yeah. So all right. I think did I lose everybody now? I think just about. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. You like my little fly-o?
And actually, I was sitting there looking, I was like, that's a good demonstration right there.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the things that Joan Wolfe uses. But she tries to teach you how it bends, how the rod bends. Yeah.
I have a question about, I'm first time, I don't really haven't done much trout fishing, but as far as a lure, do you just kind of look to see what bugs are out and then match your lure to the bug?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you can see those in different ways. Sometimes you can pick a rock up in the river and see what's under the water and try to match the hatch that way. You can see what's flying around in your area if you're standing there and all of a sudden all these no-see-ums keeps messing with you. Try to get a good look at what they actually look like, whether they're white, whether they're yellow, if they're big or if they're small. You can always look at those that way and try to match the hatch for that.
Are they named? Are the bugs named after the lure? I mean, can you find like the lure for mayflies or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are quite a few. I started trying to tie flies because I wanted to learn what the bugs were.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way I learned anything at all about about the bugs.
It's pretty interesting because I've done a lot of reading about matching up the lure with and one thing I heard was that we could go to like a bridge and see what the cobwebs, the spider webs have in them. You'll know
Oh wow!
what bugs are biting.
Wow, I never thought of that. It's a
Yeah.
good idea.
It is a good idea. I've been reading.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at another bridge after a while.
I'm a
You do?
trout fisher wannabe.
Oh, okay, okay. Just come on down. Where are you? Where are you located?
I live in Rowan County in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's nearby. That's not
Yeah,
too well,
so
it's
we
not too
go
far
to
from Charlotte at all. Yeah.
we go to Tuckertown Reservoir. I
Hmm.
haven't done a whole lot of fishing, but we keep saying we're going to do it. We got our licenses, so.
Okay. Yeah,
But
go out there
I'm
and throw a line in the water and see what happens. You never know.
yeah, I'm looking for some trout spots though. I really want to go
Mhm.
fishing for trout. I don't know.
Well, I think the closest one will probably be South Mountains State
South
Park.
Mountain, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll
South
check that
Mountains
out.
State Park. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
check that out.
that's the Jacobs Fork River.
Well, you know, it's really interesting that you have to be an entomologist to just be a fisherman too.
That's what I like about it. You gotta know stuff, you know?
Yeah, and how to
Yeah.
tie knots, and it's
Hmm.
really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's only I only usually use a couple of knots, so you know, I don't I
Keep it
do a
simple.
double surgeon. I do a double surgeon's knot, and it's never failed me. So I use that and nothing else.
Okay, I'm writing that down since I won't read.
Okay. Yeah, double
Double
surgeons.
surgeon. Okay.
Hmm. But you can look on the Orvis.com
Yeah.
and look at they have a knot tying tool on there. It's animate. It's called animated. And that's what it is. It's called animated knots,
Uh-huh.
and they will show you how to tie knots on different places.
Oh, good.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called
All right.
animated knots. It's a
Yeah.
cool little tool. Yeah,
Well, I ended up getting a book on knots, but it's very involved.
and it's confusing.
More that I really want to know.
Yeah, well, it just depends on um. I guess it doesn't really. All you're gonna put on is a leader and a and tippet and a fly. So basically, you just need a knot for that, for those three things, or two things.
And what's a tippet again?
Tippet is okay when you buy a leader. A leader is at the end of. Let me see. Let me get stuff out of the way here. A leader is it going to be at the end of the fly line? You have your fly line, and then you
Okay.
have your leader.
All right.
Okay, and your tippet comes because your tippet the fly line goes down into a really small. So when you cut your first fly off, or when your fish breaks another fly off, and then something else happens to the rest of your line, and it gets really thick. Everything is tapered, gets real thick. What you do is you put the tippet on the end of the leader, and just stretches the leader out. Therefore, you don't have to buy leader all the time. Leaders are in the neighborhood between $5 and $10. So
Okay.
you don't want to use those all the time. And you tip it. You can buy 40 feet for $3. So
Oh, wow.
just pull some tippet off and put it at the end of the leader.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely need to go on an outing or something, or go join a fishing club or something, so I can learn how to do it better.
I think near you, the Trout Unlimited Club is called Triangle Fly Fishers. I'm not sure if that's close to Raleigh. Is that your
Well, everything is kind of far from Salisbury. Triangle fly fishing is more like in Greensboro, Piedmont.
Greensboro is